I got more anoles. Woo! Intro. Now, by guessing by the thumbnail and I said new anoles, you're probably wondering, well, why did I get brown anoles and how did I get brown anoles? But we're gonna do about the how first, because I enjoy talking. A while ago, I bought a proven pair of standing eye like a while ago, like a year or two ago, from Dakota Blue Exotics.
To get the attention, because this one, what you're doing is the attention's going lower and lower. I'm kind of like, all right. I'm kind of days in. I would start checking like what's on the related.
He was selling them. I bought them. My first season, I got a handful of little babies and eggs and all that. Majority of the eggs, either I missed in time for them to crack it. Babies, I'd sell them here and there. It was mostly local with those things. But, got them, bred them. They were fun. If you want any day geckos, I highly recommend standing eye. They are beautiful. They're great animals. I just don't want to work with standing geckos or day geckos right now because we're anoles, khakis and chameleon geckos. But yeah, I got them, I bred them. Then the next season, I didn't really breed them this year. I kind of just cooled them because, they laid eggs, but honestly, I wasn't trying, nor was I trying to find them. And yeah, it was an interesting year for them, They laid a couple eggs, I didn't really hatch them. They just kind of were chilling back here, and I was like, oh, cool. I guess I have some pets for the now. And yeah, next thing you know, got to handle them. As you see, a lot of people weren't happy about that, but be what it be, that one of them got stuck, so I had to get him out, and he's in a log in my hand. He's gonna come out on my hand, and I'll put him in the cage, Make it make sense. But, got to handle them a bit because they were a hand tame when I bought them. I just never wanted to test the theory. Moved them to an expo to try to sell them. I just was not having success with selling the pair, Maybe it's because I kind of did a dumb move by never actually talking about the project more publicly. The most public thing is you go to Instagram or Facebook. If you scroll far enough, you can find a couple videos on them. And that's about it. Oh, and there's one video on the channel, but honestly, it's my worst video. Yeah, I got the animals, and I posted them for sale. Bro hit me up, local Floridian, average Floridian Joe, He's like, hey, I'd like to buy them. I was like, oh, cool, lovely. I just wanted to sell them quick so I didn't have to do all this extra stuff for when I get some new anoles in anyway. Let's go. Yeah. So, next thing you know, oh, I have this, and this, and this. And I'm like, oh, nice. Which was, one of those things was red brown anoles. Now, if any of y'all know anything about me, red brown anoles are on my list. I have to get them this year before the year is over. But, had to get these. So, I was like, oh, cool. You want to trade? He's like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. And next thing you know, I shipped them out to Florida. He shipped me them, and I'm like, oh, let's go. Got me my red brown anoles. So let's go talk more about them. Since we're talking about red brown anoles, we have to remember still brown anoles, These are still anoles you can find in Cuba as native species, but thanks to the pet trade and the plant industry. But, these animals are pretty successful outside of Cuba, as you know, especially in Florida and other parts of the USA. Now, brown anoles were originally thought to have been spotted around in some time frames around these years, but were officially established in Florida with, people who've been studying them and all that around this year, which is pretty interesting, pretty odd. Now, that's just the brown anole population. Now, as you know, we're talking about specifically the red phase that is found in Florida. So individuals are able to find the red brown anoles in the, say, early 90s. Now, that could mean, since they were able to find fully red ones, and these weren't just redheads or this or that, they were able to find, in the early 90s. That means, as we know, this is a line bred trait, which doesn't mean, like some codom, dominant, none of that, or recessive. It's just individuals that are redder that are bred over time to make even redder individuals. Yeah. Pretty much, that has meant there had to be some redder individuals prior to that to make said red anoles. So you can count maybe a good 5 to 10 years prior. So when they first originally start popping up, and around that's the time frame when, they were known. The red-faced brown anole was pretty much collected by James Lindros, the main guy who started it. I can't find his Facebook, so if any of y'all know, send it to me. I'd actually love to speak with him on this and see if he's still working with them. But pretty much that was done by him. And now that we go to a little bit to the future, the main breeder of them and producer of them is Herp Time, and then there's a handful of other individuals who are just breeding them. Like you'll see a gecko person, they'll have a pair of red brown anoles. You know, they're around. If you look around, you're gonna find them, kind of thing. Another thing is, since these are an invasive animal in Florida, many don't have any qualms of grabbing them out of Florida. And me personally, I don't see much of an issue of grabbing much of anything out of Florida if they're invasive. It's a lot better than what they do with the Burmese pythons. Yeah, so it's a win, it's a plus. But 3% of the population still keeps them fairly rare. So, you know, they aren't commonly coming in from Florida into the pet trade. Let's move into let's go talk about my pair and what I'm doing at the project. Now, if you like this video, you should sub. You should maybe subscribe. Hell, even share it to a friend. But yeah, I managed to secure a pair. Real pretty individuals, male and female, obviously. Want to breed them. Yeah, so they're fairly young. They're not adults, so it's still gonna be a bit away till I'm out here posting more babies. Like, woo, look y'all, new lizard, y'all. So that's gonna be a little farther out, sadly. But what's going on now is I have them in a little cage, kitted out, covered in sticks. Have a bromeliad in the back. I'm bad at plant names if you can't tell. A couple different plants growing over, real clustered in the plants and stick departments. So they have a lot of offerage, a lot of coverage, make them feel super secure. They have access to UVB, UVA. Their diets, obviously being supplemented with calcium and multivitamins that consist of a higher amount than vitamin A. Their feeders are vitamin A, power fed mainly. Why did I tell you all that? The main thing is this. So, if any of y'all haven't realized, I have worked with firebelly toads. Now, the real interesting thing about firebelly toads is that their stomachs in captivity are yellow. And that isn't as desirable as a nice, big, beautiful red belly. So how do you fix that? By feeding their feeders higher carotenoids from as the earliest age as possible. You can fix it while they're older, it just takes longer. My pair, as you see, is they're pretty clean. They're pretty solid when it comes to their red. But if you're helping them be secure, making them feel nice and safe, as you know, anoles get better with age, and the better you treat them, better you keep them, the prettier they're going to get as adults. So make sure you raise your anoles well. Then on top of that, now if you also go out of your way to make sure their diet is rich in those big color enhancers, then your adults are going to be jaw droppers. They're a solid animal, and believe it or not, I've never actually kept brown anoles at all. Never kept an actual, weird to be the anole guy, but never kept the more common thing that everyone has kept, evolving anoles. But yeah, you know, never kept them, and when I yoinked them out of their deli cups, moved them into their little cage, what was something I learned? Is that I learned that they're very weird. They're when they try to run away, for example, I had some roquettes not that long ago. When the one jumped out of my hand before he got into the cage, I'm telling you, I'd blink, he's on the other side of the room. These guys jumped out of my hand, sitting on this bench I'm on, who I film on. But he jumps on the leg, climbs to it, and anytime I try to grab him, he just goes to the side. And I just thought, I was like, oh, okay, you behave kind of like them.
Go watch the other videos.